And good morning. Welcome to Monday. Did everybody have a good weekend? Certainly hope so. You're waking up to 56 right now. A little cloudy and a good chance we'll get a little small sprinkle at some point today. The high is going to reach 70, though. It's going to be a warm day for us. Be prepared for that. It's not cold at all. We still got a few warm days ahead of us. We'll get into your forecast here in just a little bit. Lots has gone on over the weekend. Lots to talk about. We'll also have Candace coming in at 8 a.m. this morning. I hope you'll join us for that. The Meridian Little Theater will join us also at 8 a.m. as well. They'll tell us about a new play that is coming your way. Hopefully you'll attend that and learn a few things. We got a few things that occurred overnight and over the weekend that we'll talk about as we begin this into a new week. Hope everyone is feeling well. First off, as always, let's get a good word to start the day. Let's go to Collinsville this morning. And the pastor wants to talk about, Brother Ben wants to talk about those who deliver the word of Christ. Let's find out a little bit more this morning.
When you stand before God one day, would you like to receive a great reward? Well, in Matthew 10, 40 through 42, Jesus tells us one way how, and here it is. Show hospitality to and be supportive of the ministers of God in your community. Jesus was just about to send out his 12 disciples to do ministry in his name all throughout the community. He wrapped up his instructions by saying, "Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. The one who receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And the one who receives a righteous person because he is a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And whoever gives one of these, even a cup of cold water, because he is a disciple, truly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward." Praise God for the men and women who serve in the name of Jesus here in our community. They represent the Lord, and so be hospitable to them and support them, and you will have a great reward. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. That was a good word there. Drop by and visit with Brother Ben. They'll be having a next service, I believe, Wednesday, and then again on Sunday. So how long is it till Christmas? It crossed my mind a moment ago. Can y'all believe this? Monday, December the 5th already. As we look to this is how long you've got. 19 days, 17 hours, 26 minutes, and 30 seconds as the clock goes tick, tick, in case you were wondering. Of course I haven't shopped. As last night, let's see here, we want to remind you about this. There was an accident this weekend on Highway 19 South where a car and a truck were involved, and the truck flip went up in the air and it took out the red light there at Southeast. Lauderdale County deputies, Southeast, shared this with us. Will be on scene this morning directing traffic. So if you're going to be traveling 19 this morning, be extremely careful, watch for deputies, and keep in mind that traffic's going to be a little bit slower through there as they try to direct and get everybody to school unhurt. So be careful in those areas. Overnight, let's go south of Meridian and let's go down to Mount Horeb Road. Y'all familiar with this? We posted this just a little bit ago as we found out that overnight there was an accident that involved a pickup truck, well, actually two pickup trucks, a car, and a house. A wreck would happen and the truck would crash into the front of the house, I think doing major damage to the porch. I think Metro was sent out just to check on everybody to make sure everyone was okay, but that did happen. And again, as you'll look at this, it's just south of town. Well, I don't think in this dark mode you can see the maps as good, but I'll throw it up anyway. This is south of town. Here's the Dollar General. It'll be right down in here, Mount Horeb Road, right past Greg's there. Fireworks stand if you're in that neighborhood this morning. As we brought up Highway 19 of that accident that happened at the red light there at the Dollar General where you turn to go to Southeast School, we also had a major accident there last night as well as I believe it was just around 9 o'clock last night. An accident happened near Camp Binachi as we pulled this up this morning, and we would learn quickly that a life was lost. We don't know much more than that a female died in this wreck. We pass along condolences to the family of this young lady. We don't know much more than that. More will be released today, but we do know that she was unresponsive when volunteer firefighters arrived on the scene, the Mississippi Highway Patrol and the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office, as they helped direct traffic around this incident. Just bad. I'm at a loss for words of how to report that. Keep those in mind as you begin your day. We could be very well in their shoes. We all know that. As we look around of other events that happened in Meridian over the weekend, let's go to Highland Park. What do we have? Yes, gunfire and a car shot. A gentleman would return home from work and realize that his car had been shot. Gunfire in the area. An all too common occurrence in the Meridian area, isn't it? No one was hurt, thank goodness, but still your car's damaged. That's not good. That did happen there. Maybe you had a chance to read this. Maybe you didn't yesterday. And I titled this Miracle on 23rd as we go to this. And if you get a chance today, read that. It's about a youngster. And this was a busy section of 23rd Avenue as you go down in. This is a very familiar place. As you recognize that, let me click on that picture and get that cleared up. You've been through there. There's Meridian High School. Right along in here, 11 o'clock Saturday night, a child would be found wandering the streets of Meridian. The little fellow was crying for his mom, getting somewhere around 4 to 5 years old. A neighbor would hear it and pick the child up and call police and ask them to come to the scene. The police were there from roughly 11 o'clock until 1:30 that morning as they made rounds in the neighborhood trying to find who that child might belong to. They came up with nothing. For precautionary means, as always when this is done, the child was taken to a local hospital to make sure that it was okay. From there, that child would be transported to a foster home. Thank goodness we have folks that do that. We'll take in someone that's in need in the middle of the night. And that's what happened on that. It would be sometime after lunch on Sunday afternoon that MPD would receive another phone call. This time it was from a mother saying that her child was missing. You go, well, how would a mother not know? Well, the details of what we're being told is the child spent the night with the grandmother. The grandmother at some point on Saturday night left to go somewhere and left 2 other people in the home in charge of looking after the youngster. She comes home and thinks the mother has picked up the child. That had not occurred. They would only discover the more seriousness of this of around 12:30 on Sunday afternoon when the mother did come back to pick up the child and he was not there. Fortunately, as I put in that, it really was a miracle on 23rd of a child walking down the street. We all know how busy 23rd Avenue is. Think of the many different things that could have happened. Truly, it was nothing short of a miracle than God's own hand watching for the child. Now, Child Protection Services is investigating this, of course, as they should. We may or may not ever know how that ends, but we do know that it ended with the child safe, and that's all that matters at this point. I'll say a little prayer for that family because, and that child especially. Did you get a chance this weekend? This was a real neat thing. It had a lot of traffic. Highway 19, what was going on? This is what it was. And they came and spoke to us, and what a great job they did. Faith Baptist Church, the Journey to Bethlehem. A really good thing there is they did the live nativity scenes around the church parking lot. Real big enough place to do that. It was a hit. Everybody drove through to check that out. We're so glad of that. Let's see here. Let's go on down to a few other things that happened. I'm still getting, over the weekend, the Meridian Police Department received numerous calls of, I need you to come back. My car was struck with bullets. My apartment has bullet holes in it. Come take pictures of this. And that was the scene. We started the weekend off with a murder in Meridian. Our 14th murder of the year. Now that's pretty strong. 14. We had 15 last year. We only have a few days left, and we certainly hope we don't match last year's number. We're one away from matching that as we pull this up. This would happen right off of Highway 39 at Azalea Apartments, or Azalea, however you pronounce the word. There's several ways to pronounce it. From what I understand, it's a 19-year-old that has been reported dead. I think this was the second attempt on this young man's life. This time they were successful. Now, we'll talk more about this morning as we get deeper into this. I did report when it happened that one person had been taken into custody. I've had to backtrack. The person was released. Now, I'm understanding that the person that was released most likely should have been in handcuffs. We'll talk a little bit more about that this morning coming up at 8. So, what a mess we have there. We'll find out what becomes of that this week. We'll have Ward Calhoun joining us on Wednesday morning to talk about what's been going on with the Sheriff's Department also. Maybe get a little insight on all of this. Join us again. That's going to be on Wednesday morning. We'll have the folks from Collinsville as they get ready for the parade. More to be here. Give us a little insight on that. There's a lot more to this than I think we realize. We talk about targets, that most of our shootings are targets. They absolutely are. But the problem is when targets hit innocent people. It can happen in the blink of an eye. We all know that. Those bullet holes that hit those apartments, that was innocent people behind them, and it just accidentally, or maybe it goes back to God being involved where they weren't at home at that time. Maybe they stopped to get a drink. Maybe they got held up at a red light a little bit longer and just weren't there. However you word it, it was a miracle on that end also. We go to Clark County also over the weekend, a murder in Clark County as we see this one dead after an argument on Highway 18. Clark County Hot Topics passed along the information to us. Again, another life lost in Clark County. It's very few there for the year, but I'll find out how many we've had in Clark County as they continue to watch this. The coroner arrived and pronounced the person deceased. A lot goes on in our area, doesn't it? Good morning, Jerome Lee. I see you up and at 'em. Pat and Jim Coker, good. Chet, how are you feeling this morning? Again, Chet, if y'all have a chance, drop in and see Chet if you ever have a scratch, a dent in your car. Chet does a wonderful job of repairing your stuff, and we all know that deer season is wide open. We'll tell you at 8 o'clock also, we'll talk a little bit more about Louisville. They are looking for someone. We'll show you the video of who they're wanting. Got somebody on the loose up there. And we have to, as we bring up Louisville, we have to say congratulations this morning as we go to that. Louisville Football has won their 11th state championship. Tied for the most in the state of Mississippi ever. A big congratulations to Louisville for those of you who watch from that area. A lot of you do. That is a no milestone. That is huge. Glad for y'all. As we look around, as we suspected, what was this, about 3 years ago, that a guy named Deion Sanders showed up at JSU. Football team really wasn't all that well. He was well known for being a good player, but the question was he a good coach? Well, it turned out to be, and as all suspected, the better and better JSU got, most likely he wouldn't stay. As we go to headlines this morning, Deion Sanders announces he's leaving. He is headed to Colorado. Depends upon where you are and how you pronounce that name. But congratulations to him. Well-deserved. He took a athletics department and turned it all around. There's no doubt that he was the man behind that, and he will certainly help Colorado. Good luck to them. We go to McGee, Mississippi next. Of a headline here, a man has been arrested after a home invasion and shooting in McGee. Someone was taken to the hospital. They didn't die, but home invasions and shoot-ups. I do support the Second Amendment, by all means. Always protect what's yours. It's called an equalizer. We found out in Rankin County over the weekend that a fire broke out in a mobile home. The person was rushed to the hospital. We were hoping and praying that all would stay that way. We found out late last night that that person is now deceased that was in that fire. We send condolences toward that Jackson area of someone that lost their life there. Again, so close to Christmas. Sad news as we go to Adams County. Is our next, Harrison County, actually. It was Adams Lake. Let me get this. A sheriff's deputy has drowned Condolences are coming in from all over. He was canoeing and somehow another tipped over and drowned. Again, that was in Harrison County. A deputy has passed away from a drowning. Horrible it is. Terry, Mississippi. This is on the outskirts of Jackson there. As we go over there for a headline this morning, a man was found in his home, multiple shell casings in the house, and he was found with gunshot wounds to the chest. He was pronounced dead at the scene. They don't know much more than that, but it happened. He passed away. Was it a burglary? Was it someone in his home that got into an argument? We don't know. We may never know. They are investigating. We'll find out. We brought this up the other day. The guy appeared in court. Y'all remember South Haven, which is right barely in Mississippi. You got South Haven and Memphis right above that. It was a shooting, I guess it's 3 years ago now, 2019 at a Walmart, where 2 employees lost their life and a officer was also wounded in that. He stood in front of a judge on Friday. He has been sentenced to death. Now, again, it may take 220 before he meets his maker, but the gavel has come down, and that's what his judgment is. From now to whenever that goes on, they'll have attorneys fighting that, trying to block it. We go back to JSU over the weekend. Do y'all remember us talking about that? I got a note, and I brought it up that a parent had sent me a message on Friday and said, something is going on. My daughter goes to school there. Can you find out what's going on? And the more I dug into it, I did know that something had happened. I knew someone was deceased. I didn't know much more than that. Information was really tough to come by. And we would find out in a few hours that a Jackson State student had been found dead in the trunk of a car, a 22-year-old. Flynn Brown was his name. He has family back in New Jersey. We pass along condolences. We don't know what it is. One person taken into custody. Hopefully we'll find out more about this as this moves along this week. Horrible, horrible to send your child off to school and something like that happen. Sandra says that the Bethlehem production was nothing short of awesome. Janet Culpepper, good morning to you. Steve Mwanda up in the battlefield area this morning. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning. The teacher, I mentioned that on Saturday night about the appeal that's been accused at Jackson Public Schools. Her bid to have her court case revisited has been thrown out. She'll spend a few years in jail for sexual contact with a student. Carthage, that was how we kicked off the weekend as we learned that about JSU. Carthage, gunfire. And you don't think about Carthage is a pretty much a small town in Mississippi, similar to Philadelphia in size to some degree. I used to go visit Butch Smith there. I think most people know Butch Smith very well. Big around the Philadelphia area, Philadelphia auto sales. Butch was always my connection to whatever I needed in Carthage. And God bless Butch, he's no longer with us. I think about him often. But we had a shooting in Carthage on Friday night that would go up and down Highway 16. We have 1 dead, a lady injured, multiple bullet holes through the Cadillac she was driving or riding in. Another person also shot in the leg. No other deaths have been confirmed on that. Hopefully everybody else is going to recover from all of that. Now, here's something I want you to put in your pipe and smoke and think about. If this can happen somewhere else, let's call it North Carolina. Is everybody up to date on all of this? It just kind of happened. And not a lot of the news media are reporting this yet. But if it can happen in North Carolina, you can bet your boots that it can happen in Mississippi. It can start happening in larger cities across America. 40,000 homes are without power. Do you know why? Y'all heard this yet? People are shooting transformers. Now, we don't know why they did, but you take people like here locally that have been robbing businesses by cutting power. Is this a bigger thing to where they just take it out and it kills the power grid? Or is it even something bigger than that? They have no clue at this point who did it, or if they do, they're not releasing that information. 40,000 people. It's taken them a while to get the transformers to get the power back on, but something's fishy here. I certainly hope this is not a trend coming to America. The criminals have figured out they can do this and take more. No one would have power. We go to Disneyland. Have y'all seen this? While someone, it's one thing that it's horrible that anyone would even consider taking their own life. We do know that it happens each year. Millions of Americans think about it. Some act upon it. This gentleman did it at Disneyland. He was 50 years old. He jumped to his death. I won't have to tell you how that ended for those who were visiting the park who had to leave when rides were shut down, of what they had to walk past to get to their car. Not good, is it? No, it's not. We'll be right back. We're going to check your forecast next. That's a little bit of the headlines that we've got in our area this morning and around the nation. We're going to check your forecast to let you know it could be a little of a wet morning. We'll check that next. The Square Peg Mini Mall is located across from the Neshoba County Co-op in Philadelphia. And they're getting ready for the Christmas season with a large variety of furniture and over 30 vendors to browse through. You can take advantage of the layaway on furniture and not pick it up until Christmas Eve. The inventory is constantly updating, and there's always a chance for a surprise when you step inside. Family owned and operated, where they treat you like family. Come visit the Square Peg Mini Mall located at 335 West Main Street in Philadelphia. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we begin this wonderful Monday morning. Kathy Nowell Sharp mentioned that Butch Smith was her first cousin. I'm telling you, I always had some good times when I sat with Butch and Gene Brown up in Philadelphia. I always learned a lot. He was a very, very nice fellow. A lot of class about him. And if you didn't get to know him, you sure missed out on a good fellow. Well, let's get into our forecast this morning and find out what is going on with this weather.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go back to our record highs and record lows, well, we see that it was 82 in 2013 on this day. Not a lot of difference in between today. Today's 70, a little bit warmer back then. Our coldest recorded on this date in the Meridian area was 06 when we had a low of 18 degrees. Burr is nothing short of the word. I don't function well in that weather. I don't know about y'all. As we go to what's happening today, this is what we've got. Clouds, and if you'll notice, the further north you go, we'll look at radar here in just a moment, the more chances of rain. We have a 20% chance of rain throughout the area happening at any time. It's going to be heavy fog to the south, so y'all be careful. Keep that in mind to the south of this area. As we look across to Bama, we'll see 70 in Demopolis as well. That'll roll through the areas there across in Livingston, 71 in Montgomery. A little cooler over there. As I said, to the south today, we do have a fog advisory to the south. Waynesboro, Laurel, Hattiesburg, all the way to the coast. It's going to be very foggy, and to the east as well. This won't stop until about 9 a.m. this morning. Again, we'll look at radar here in just a moment and show you all of that. As we glance across what's happening now, warmer weather. It's here for a few days. We do see that out way to the west, slowly making its way toward Texas, cooler weather, which will eventually get to us. But not this week, it won't. Today, 70, 20% chance. Tomorrow, we're back with more clouds, 76 for a high. Even warmer come Wednesday, 77, 78 by Thursday. The weekend will rise on Friday with 72, and we're still into the 60s as that rain moves in on Sunday. High of 65 is what we're expecting. Now let's go another week into December. Let's go to the 12th. We're sitting at 66. The change starts happening somewhere around the 14th of December, roughly a week out from Christmas there, isn't it? Close to it. 55, and then we'll get into the 30s at night. Santa, oh Santa, what's going to happen on your ride? 50s are the highs all the way through the 19th. Nighttime lows around 35, right at that freezing degree mark there. Real close to it anyway. We'll watch this as Christmas gets closer and closer, but we do see that we've got some cooler weather that is on the way. Let's go ahead and move into what's happening on the fishing this morning as we head out to Chad's Paint and Body. We see that, today is an average day. If you're going to hit it this early this morning, it ended about 6:30. You get another chance later on about 2:40 this afternoon. You can go out and try it there. A major time will be that lunchtime crowd from 10 until lunch, if you can find an excuse to slip away. The wind's going to be confusing. Light southwest wind becoming southwest 5 to 10 with gusts of 20 miles an hour today. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, let me find my mouse, and let's go back over here and take a look at our radar this morning of what we've got shaking with this to let you know who, what, and when, and where the showers are. As we pull this up, here's radar this morning as we go to Meridian Honda radar. Clear in the Meridian area, but out to our west, we've got a lot of fog in the Jackson area. Look at that. As we go down, this goes all the way to the coast here. Right there, as you get into all of that two-lane road there going through Central to Mobile, all around that. Heavy, all across the Florida coastline in Bama. Be careful. We even have a little bit around New Iberia. I-10 from Lafayette to Lake Charles is thick. As we go into North Mississippi, you'll see here we got showers that pick up north of Columbus. Amory, Mississippi has it today around Tupelo as well, all the way into the Memphis area. If you've got to travel 55 this morning, it's going to be slick. Keep that in mind. And north on Highway 45. A little bit there in Bamaland, too, around Birmingham. If you're headed to Nashville or any of those bigger areas, keep it in mind that you could come up on a wet shower here or there this morning. That's a quick look at what we've got going on. We're going to be back very shortly from now as we'll bring you the morning show live with Candace as she shows up this morning. We tell you about all that has gone on and have our special guest to talk about what's happening in the Meridian area. Come back and join us, won't you? I do appreciate you dropping by and spending a few moments of your time. We'll see you soon from the Scotty Ray Report. Good morning and God bless.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: